this question has been bothering a lot of people. Let's say I acquire an NFT, and how does the value define? I mean, what is the value that's being defined, and how does it grow? Hi, hello guys. Welcome to at another Mood Talks. This is Abhilash. I'm your host. We are going to talk about crypto, NFT, and blockchain once again. And if you've been following us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, we just posted about basics of what NFT is and how you can be part of this space. And today we are going to extend that conversation with Neha, who is a head of partnerships with GuardianLink and Jump.Trade. Just to give you an idea about Neha, Neha has been part of Polygon in the past. She heads the partnerships with GuardianLink and Jump.Trade. She's going to share a lot of ideas, insights about blockchain. We're going to talk about crypto. We are also going to extend the conversation about how NFT is going to change the space, and how we can participate in this. And this is going to be much more exciting. And let me welcome Neha, and we get going. Okay, thanks, Neha, for joining us today. And I think we had a chat with Samreen about the basics of NFTs and things like that. And I think you're going to also share a lot of insights on what blockchain NFTs and how they are interlinked and so, right?
Right.
For people who has joined us today, Neha has been in this space for quite some time. She has been doing a lot of work speaking about NFTs, blockchain, and she's also been part of Matic Network before, and now she's heading a lot of things in GuardianLink and Jump.Trade, right? So why don't you also give us an idea about yourself, Neha?
Definitely. So as you mentioned, I've been working in this space for quite some time now. Uh, the main prospect that I'm working on with Guardian Link is the NFT project specifically, and I make sure that the technical partnerships are done here. So when I say technical partnerships, Guardian Link is a company that has technical capabilities of launching NFTs and basically white label solutions. It's more of a white label solution for brands, celebrities, artists who want to get into NFT basically. So for that to happen, you need a solid infrastructure from the technical side, basically the blockchain infrastructure. So getting integrations with different blockchains and making our platforms capable of being integrated to different chains as well is what I make sure of. And To talk a little more about what I've done, I've also worked with the Matic network, now very well known as Polygon Technology,
Yeah.
in the partnerships role as well. So yeah, been in the Web3 and blockchain space for quite some time now. And along in Garden Link, along with the technical side, I make sure that I'm involved in the marketing and the community involvement and engagement side of the business as well.
Awesome, awesome, Neha. I think the mention you it's a community, right? I think that's something that we emphasized on the previous discussion as well. Now,
Uh-huh.
uh, give us an idea of what this community looks like and what I mean. How is it? How it's growing right now in the space?
So I'll tell you why there is a community and necessity of a community when it comes to blockchain, because it's a decentralized system. So basically, it means that there's no central authority who's going to take decisions about things in blockchain. Basically,
Yes.
it could be anything. Like there are developers, there are people faces of blockchain, but the rights are distributed. It's very liberal space, I would say, and that's the reason community plays a very important role. And because it is for the betterment of if I talk about NFT specifically, it's about ownership, right? If I talk about blockchain, it's about security, it's about transactions, it's about how fast things can be done. So those things are something that should be in the hands of everyone. And the
Everyone.
decentralized way of doing it actually needs a community. So let's
True.
say this is something as simple as when there is when you meet different kind of people, you try to see what common things you have between them. Some people might talk about football, some people might talk about their dance interest or their curricular interests as well. So this is exactly on the similar lines. It's the similar mind set of people coming together and basically contributing towards a decentralized system that can be at advantage for everyone. That's the reason community is very important. And when it comes to companies like us, it's very important to have a community and be very engaged with them, is because
Yeah.
a lot of suggestions, a lot of wants and needs that people want, because it is for people. So those
True.
things come from them. So if they're coming from
True.
them and then we are able to implement, there are two things happening. One is we're learning and we are giving back. Both the things are
Yes.
happening in this way. So it's a very, I would say a very comfortable space if there is a community in place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have to get into the details of it, right? So,
Right.
and when it comes to this particular space and decentralization, and if people have watched Silicon Valley, right, and there's this Pied Piper thing that came in, and
True.
it was all about decentralization, community, and there was a lot of things happening there, and it was the most when it came out, people didn't. I mean, there was no blockchain, if I'm not wrong, or probably it's in the very initial stage of it, but then now it's the most relatable thing
Yeah.
in the space right now, right? We can talk about decentralization, and a lot of community play happening and people contributing data and as well as consuming data at the same time, right?
Right.
Now, just give us an so let's go into the basics, right? As you mentioned about the NFTs are going to be sort of future for a lot of in the commerce space, and
Right.
even in metaverse and things like that. So why do you think so, and why everyone should participate in this?
So the main purpose, I'll touch base upon the basics of what NFTs are so that it makes sense. So NFTs is basically a proof of ownership that you get. And this proof of ownership is based on a very reliable technology, that is blockchain. Right?
Right.
Blockchain is reliable. Why? Because the way it is designed, the technical stacks that it follows, we've seen a great wave of Web 2, and the Web 2 development, of course, the Silicon Valley playing a very important role in that development. It is grown to a level right now that Web 3 is on the similar space and is trying to replicate the same. Now, ownership, if blockchain through NFTs can define the ownership of something, it is actually bringing a lot of liberal way of living to people. When I say liberal way, what I mean is, if you own something like today, I'll talk a very simple example of Indian structure where if you buy a land, there's a
True.
possibility of encroachment and people might just take over your land just because they have political powers. If might they
Correct.
have some sort of powers which they can use and take it over, but there you lose it, your ownership. Blockchain is making sure that all these things are saved in a form that nobody can tamper, nobody can encroach them, and nobody has the authority over them. So what is yours is going to be yours. And when I say it is going to be a thing that will be all very common in coming time, is because people will understand the importance of
Understand.
having something that sort of a power in their hands, that okay, if I own something, I'm going to have that particular thing forever, right? Like
Right.
there's a security, there's a legitimacy that goes behind, and there's a reliability, and that is all of this is happening through a technology. And we, all of us, probably our generation is some like we've grown up looking at technology, learning a lot of technology, so we rely
True.
and we have a sense of trust on it by
True.
now,
True.
right? So that is getting stronger and stronger and more adopted by people. Now, the use case of it in the e-commerce sector or in the day-to-day lives is something that we'll see in the coming time.
Will.
If we talk very specifically about some of the use cases, recently, India, I happened to read this news that the Indian government will issue its caste verification certificates through uh, NFTs. So that is like a
Nice.
that is like a proof of paper that you used to hold forever. Now that is being done on blockchains. Now, I'll tell you what happens in a caste certificate scenario. If you and me, both of us, like try apply for a caste certification, I have to give a proof that probably my father's caste was so and so. That's the reason my caste should be the same, right? Or same goes for you. Now, these records are in the form of papers. And if my dad lost that paper somewhere, or there was no such procedure done by himself, so it is going to be difficult for us to preserve those documents as well. Blockchain solves all of those problems at all. Like if you uh, in next 5 to 10 generations also, if you see the if you pick the blockchain and go and see the smart contract details, you will find that okay, fine, so something of this sort was issued by the government of
Yes.
India, and that will be a reliable source of information. So
True, true.
that's one of the simplest use case we can give in terms of how NFTs can be worked upon in real life.
Yes, I think this is sort of a very, I mean, it's an asset, right? For Indians, gold is one thing that we like to keep it, and this is something that you have ownership,
Right,
and we like to keep it safe, and
right,
nobody can sort of say this is not yours,
right,
right? And
exactly.
this is sort of similar to something like an asset. And
Right.
now I have pure authenticity of this is mine. And I think with blockchain we can also go back and verify how it's interconnected with, like you mentioned, my father, my grandfather, and so and so,
Right.
and then I can
True.
trace back to what I am today, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's a good, I mean, it's a good use case to
Mm-hmm,
have,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
especially for this. And India with so much population, and you want to trace back a lot of things, and this is the
Right.
best way to put into. Now now we mentioned, you mentioned smart contracts, you mentioned
Right.
blockchain, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let gets to let us get to the basic of it. What
Uh-huh.
is blockchain, right? And
Right.
for the simplest term to put it, and
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
know there's a lot of videos on YouTube
Right.
talking about blockchain, and everywhere there is, I think for every 10 article there's 5 article that is about
I'll talk
blockchain,
about
right?
blockchain. Right. True.
Now, and there's a lot of details in it. I mean, technically it's very complex and it is a lot of things, but now what is that everyone needs to understand about blockchain? What is the basics of blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
just give us an idea of that.
So sure. So blockchain is like it's a term which is literally, it means block and chain.
Chain.
There's something called as block in a blockchain, and there's a chain. So the information is stored in the form of blocks, and it is connected to each other in form of chains. That's the simplest way of understanding how information is stored, and how things are put up in a sequential manner. Okay, so this chain basically defines what information is related to what. Let's say something as simple as a cricket game, let's say. Okay, and we are tracking the records of Virat Kohli's performance throughout past 10 years. Okay, and after another, there was like a series of matches that he played, one after another. And let's say that information was put up in a block, and that cannot be changed or cannot be tampered. Now, right
Temper.
now, if you go to in a Web2 space where there is a Java, those codes can be tampered and basically can be rewritten and manipulated as well, as and when required. But blockchain does not give you that facility. So if you've entered something right now, like instead of 10 centuries, if you write like Virat Kohli has completed 10 centuries, for example. I'm really sorry with my
No, no,
cricket
absolutely
knowledge as
understandable.
well. Yeah,
People can connect to Virat
yeah,
Kohli,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
not to blockchain.
Right,
Yeah.
right. If I say till October this year, he had completed so many numbers of centuries. And by mistake that number is wrong. Let's say, like how I'm saying 10. So so if that number is wrong, what you have to do is in blockchain you have to go back and rewrite that information by saying that the previous information was wrong and the new information is so and so. So you basically update, you don't change anything. So tomorrow, after 10 years, you pick that blockchain and you see actually what the data was. You'll be able to see that Neha had made a mistake by saying that so many number of centuries were done, but then she corrected. The next blockchain block will define saying that then she corrected herself, saying that so and so, not one particular number. There were 100, or there were 10, or there were 90. Those things can be seen. So there's no way you can tamper that data. It is going to be a legitimate data. this being just the one side of blockchain, there are a lot of things that are happening right now in the world. Uh, the transactions that go along with blockchain, the mining that side of the blockchain that goes. There's a decentralized DAO systems. There's projects like NFT projects that are coming up. There are DeFi projects that are coming up. These are all the use cases based on the capability of a blockchain. The simplest form that I was trying to explain through example, that has been replicated and that has been put up and molded in a way that it generates income for a lot of people. It generates uh, revenue in for businesses. There is a system through which how Web 2 had developed, right from gaming industry to any sort of industry, I would say. Uh, how technology was being adapted in Web 2. The same sort of replication is seen in the Web 3 space as well, using the blockchain technology itself, like one small part of it. If you talk
Yeah.
about, yeah, if you talk about the use cases, right from multiple industries, like you speak about the gaming. Gaming has been the fastest industry so far to adapt blockchain. Government is getting into that. There is banking sector that is trying to get into it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
payments plays a very important role, and blockchain solves uh, the traditional centralized system are
True. True.
actually very slow as compared to what blockchain can provide in the payments
Correct.
industry as well.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that because I think when you speak about blockchain, you have
Mhm.
transactions, you have
Right.
ledgers, and you have
Mhm.
list of things that is being written, and you can trace back and things like that. I
Right.
think the most closest industry that we can relate is banking industry, right? I mean,
Right. True.
everything that is happening right now in blockchain is
Uh-huh.
relatable to the banking industry, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think apart from the traditional way of developing, right, what's
Mm.
there in banking right now, there are a lot of loopholes. Like you mentioned, that I cannot tamper with a lot of things. But in banking, the traditional system, I can go back and, I mean, there are a lot of things that can happen. I can go back
Yeah.
and ask someone to change some things, and then everything changes
Absolutely.
and it
Absolutely.
gets updated.
Absolutely.
I believe in blockchain, when you make some changes to a previous block, that is
Mhm.
probably, or try to tamper with it, or people try to change something, the rest of the blocks also gets invalid, which means
Right.
you basically lose the entire block of series of things that is interconnected to it, which means you'll have to
True.
set up certain principles of how to change it, what to change it, and how it happens, right? And I
Right.
think that's the best, security standpoint. It's a great way to have the blockchain in place. And I think there are a lot
Mhm.
of companies. In fact, we have worked with a company which actually uses blockchains to store data. It can be audio files, video,
Yes.
media files, and things like that. And it's safe, and it also does a lot of other things. But I would say that the applications are endless.
Mhm.
Even the
Mhm.
traditional applications can also be integrated with blockchains to do certain
True.
parts of the a functionality that is going through, right?
True. True. Very true.
um, and now the blockchain is a talk of what's happening right now, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And now the NFTs are something that has sort of kicked in the last 1 year, and people, celebrities, and a lot of other
Uh-huh.
things are endorsing. I think that's something that we spoke with Samreen as well. But yeah, why don't you give us an idea of, like, how does NFT gets created in a blockchain, and how does it, how can we visualize it, right? I mean, because everything is happening digitally.
Right.
Unlike a traditional approach, we have a book,
Mhm.
we have a system that we can log into. For example, banking, we
Mhm.
can log into a
Mhm.
banking, we can see this how the things are changing. But
Mhm.
how does it happen with creation of NFT and other blockchain applications to it?
True.
How does it get interlinked?
Okay, okay. So, while talking about blockchains in specific, the use cases are huge. As you mentioned, the
True.
celebrities bringing their own NFTs to people from art background are making the NFTs, to gaming industry adapting the NFTs as well. There's a lot of use cases, and in the coming time, all of us will see those things. Now, the thing that goes behind NFTs is it itself means non-fungibility. The word non-fungibility defines itself very well. So when I say non-fungibility, it is unique. You don't actually get to see anything of that sort uh, as a copy or as a duplicate as well. Okay, so if I have like one block, one Bitcoin today, simplest way of understanding. If I have one Bitcoin and Abhilash, I give you one. So there's not going to be change. If I already had 20 and you had 20, I gave you one and you gave me one. It's going to be the same, right? 2020, that's the standard number that we are going to have. So that there is no difference. So basically that side of the token is called fungibility trade of it. But non-fungibility means if I have one NFT, you have one NFT, we cannot exchange them because they are going to be unique. They are different from one another. Now there are technical terms that define the non-fungibility. On Ethereum itself, you call those NFTs as ERC-721 or ERC-1155. So those are not of equal value. We might come to a conclusion that my NFT is worth one ETH, okay? Or you come to a conclusion that my NFT is worth one ETH. Then if we exchange our NFTs, there's still a possibility of exchange. But other than that, there is no possibility of exchange because the value cannot be defined. It has different traits than what my NFT is going to have against yours. That is the concept of NFTs. The unique assets, digital assets, is what it defines. Now, going back to the technical side where these NFTs are minted. So NFTs are minted on blockchain. Yeah. NFTs are minted on blockchain. Right now, we on each and every blockchain, we have a concept called as a smart contract. A smart contract basically does what? It helps you make an entry about your ownership, about your NFT, that when it from the starting point, if say you're a creator of an NFT, from that point to the movement of NFT from one owner to another, a smart contract is going to have all this information placed in itself, right? So it is something a very reliable thing, and where blockchains come into picture, right?
Amazing.
So the and along with this goes what? The price that it defines.
Price, yeah.
Right. But there's a creator who defines one price, and then there is a owner who buys it in an auctionable form. NFTs are usually in the auctionable form, but there are different types of NFTs. Like we ourselves provide NFTs at flat prices too. So there's the beauty of it is you can define it the way you want to be presented to the community. So the auctionable part actually involves and decides the monetary value of that digital asset, and it pretty much works like how your traditional way of auctions used to work for collectibles. Yeah. So one of the use case of NFTs is also having a collectible. So let's say there was some big there's some history behind a particular asset, and that was converted into a digital asset basically. So that can be traded in the similar way how you do it in the traditional way, like those sitting arrangements where you go 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, this price 1 2 3. Yeah, the same thing goes, but that is going to happen online right now.
Online. I think that's what you guys are doing right now with the new drops of cricket NFTs, if I'm not wrong.
That's correct.
Yeah. So why don't you just give us an idea of that as well? I mean, what is that people have to be excited about this particular drops?
Sure. So GuardianLink, as I spoke, that it's a technology company that powers a lot of projects. Jump.Trade is an in-house project of GuardianLink. Apart from powering some of the very legendary brands and celebrities, which I'll mention through BeyondLife.Club, GuardianLink was able to introduce to people Amitabh Bachchan NFTs, which was a big hit. It was one of the first project that GuardianLink had done. And the sale went for 1 million. The first hand sale went for 1 million. And there's a marketplace where people continuously keep trading and gaining their profits right now. Beyond Life is BeyondLife.club is active with that. We've then were able to introduce Stanley's Chakra character NFTs. We've done
Okay.
some good NFTs for NFT project for Hindustan Times. We've done LA Times as well. All these things are available to be traded on marketplace for BeyondLife.club. And a next step into this journey was to explore the gaming side of it and the use cases of it, right? So that's where the Jump.Trade platform comes into picture. With Jump.Trade, we have a vision of bringing in a lot of more play to earn based games. And the very beginning is Meta Cricket League, which is a cricket game Jump.Trade is launching. And this involves NFTs, right? So if you, it's a cricket game. If you have to play that, you have to basically take part in a drop that is coming on 22nd of April. Once you have a ownership of at least one NFT, that's the minimum criteria we have. Even if you have like one NFT, you will be able to enter into the game, which will be launched in a month's time period on same platform, Jump.Trade. And it's a cricket game. This is the very first project that we're doing on Jump.Trade through cricket. In coming time, you might as well see some different games. It could be as simple as a Candy Crush, or it could be a football game too. Yeah.
Nice.
So we are exploring that side as well. And because I name it as a, it's a platform that provides play to earn game exposure to people. Basically, if you play more, if you own NFTs, you play more, you'll be able to earn rewards in the form of cryptocurrencies. Those can be encashed by you. You can get it transferred into your bank account. The more you play, the more you win. You can get it encashed into your bank account, or use that the reward that you've gained to buy new NFTs on the marketplace through Jump.Trade itself. So that's the whole idea about the project. That's how it is through Jump.Trade.
Awesome. I think in the last few months or years, probably, I think ever since the pandemic hit us, the lot of YouTube influencers, game streamers, gamers, and I think this space sort of grew very, very rapidly in the last 2 years.
True.
Yeah, I mean, many people are consuming content and as well as creating a lot of content. I think, like we also discussed with Samreen that this is going to be the future, given people are becoming influencers, getting into gaming, getting into a lot of different ways of engaging people.
True.
Everybody would probably have NFT in some or the other way in the future, or people are going to trade a lot of cryptocurrencies and things like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's also is going to sort of shape up the community as well at the same time, right? And you mentioned about community. So is there any how can we be part of the community, and how does it look like? I mean, where can we join? Where can we discuss these things? And how do I see my NFTs, buy my NFTs? And I think Jump.Trade is also part of this, and we can go and buy NFTs and trade NFTs, right?
True.
So how do we do that?
So if you go to the website of Jump, the simplest way is what I'll tell you. If you go to Jump.Trade's website, it's literally Jump.Trade. You type that and you'll get the website open. Once you go there, we have our social media handles where all our communications go. We have a Twitter, we have a Instagram, and we have a Discord channel. Now, this Discord channel is specific for the GuardianLink community. So, so even if it's different projects that we're doing, it is because it is powered by GuardianLink. We have a Discord channel for GuardianLink, under which we have a Jump.Trades community where you can join. Any kind of problems that you have, any kind of questions that you have regarding the project, about the prices, about anything, I'll tell you how it works. The moderators are there from our side who help you understand everything. They're 24/7 there to address all your questions from the technical side as well, and from the business side as well. And if, let's say, you also want to interact with the other community members of Jump.Trade, you'll be able to do that. I've myself seen people talking about the floor prices, people talking about, I'm ready to sell my NFT, this particular NFT at this price. Are you guys ready? I might just put it out there on the marketplace really soon. So those kind of talks, and even more interactive talks, is something that you will see on the Discord channel. Every Friday we have, mostly on Fridays, yeah, sometimes on Thursdays as well. We have our community calls. So what from our side, what we do is we try to communicate and engage our community by providing them some or the other information. We might someday have a speaker. Someday we just might talk about the relevant topics. Like recently, there was a panic in Indian people about what the taxation is going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got the
And it's even
experts.
trending today, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong, the
yeah,
crypto
yeah,
kit tax
yeah.
and
Pretty
things like
much,
that.
pretty much, pretty much.
Yeah,
So any questions related to that, we get speakers. We ourselves talk. I myself host a lot of community calls.
amazing.
So yeah, it's a good space. We make sure that people come on board and they ask their questions. We bring our CEOs there. They address people's problems, or problems as in terms of, some people need to be educated. Some people want have some sort of doubts or anything that is relevant and that is going on. They also might have some questions related to the utility of the project, or they might suggest you some things like, maybe if we do these things, it'll be a better thing for the community altogether, or the project will be even better, or any type of communication that goes, announcements that goes, or any social media interactions we have goes through our Discord channel. So yes, GuardianLink's Discord channel is something that you can find the communication on. Jump.Trade is the website where people can go and look for the Discord channels. If you're already there on Discord, uh, people can just type GuardianLink and join the channel directly.
Awesome, awesome. I think more people will be willing to join and discuss all of this, right? And you mentioned specifically about, people are saying I'm going to auction my NFT and things like that, right? So
Right.
this question has been bothering a lot of people. Let's say I acquire an NFT, and uh, how does the value define? I mean, what is the value that's being defined, and how does it grow? How does one sort of make money? Or, I mean, I would not say, I would not
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
Familiar
misdirect people
numbers.
saying that you don't want to say that, you get an NFT and it's going to go to millions of dollars someday and then
No,
you
no,
sell
no,
it.
no, no.
That's not the way it works, right?
True,
I
true.
think this is something that we need to break. And, why don't you give us an idea of that?
So, but having said that, I would really definitely want to, quote one small example that I've seen right in front of my eyes. So on Beyond Life, when we had done Amitabh Bachchan project, uh, under the loot box, we had given out NFTs at $10. That was the standard
Okay.
price. Okay.
Okay.
So people have bought that at $10, and people have also sold it at $3,000.
Amazing. Okay.
That is the kind of change and that is the kind of hype that we've seen for NFTs in the space. We've seen that, like, there are news that we get about Bored
Yeah, I
Ape Yacht
mean, we
Club
have seen
and
about the crying ape and laughing ape and things
yes,
like that.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
that recently, I think Jack's first Twitter about setting up
We
Twitter
Right, right.
became an NFT
Became
and
an
things.
NFT. True, true,
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
So those things were, the standard examples that you could see outside, like people who are doing business out there. For them, to pull this off was something like, okay, maybe they're doing something different, like maybe something amazing. That's the reason all of these things are happening. But when
true.
we did that and we ourselves saw that kind of a raise in, the number and the reselling price of an NFT, it was just so mesmerizing to see. I mean, I don't have words actually. It was a good feeling. As a company, it looks like a success for us that whatever we are contributing out there, people are seeing value in that, and people are it is beneficial for them.
True,
It is
true.
bringing them a monetary freedom. It is bringing them it is solving a lot of their problems. It must be solving it like that. But yes, that is something that we've witnessed ourselves. And you basically have to look for what makes sense for you, and what is that you like Beyond Life. And through GuardianLink, we are bringing so many projects, and we are tapping into different people's interest. Through sports, probably gaming, we are tapping into the interest of people who are into gaming. So we're covering them as well. Some people might just be interested in some sort of brands, some celebrities. We are bringing those kind of projects to them as well. So as an investment part, definitely digital assets in general, if NFTs are taken into consideration, they are something that give you return value. The ROI part of it is quite quick. Like today, if you buy gold, and I mean, we have a standard example in our houses, like 10 years back or 20 years back when our mothers got married, or when they got their jewelries and
Yeah,
gold,
yeah,
basically, the value of money was so less back then for gold
yeah, yeah.
against today, right? So the price range is changed over time. Now this has happened because over time, but through NFTs, there's no one set way of defining how much it is going to grow, right? Like in
So
this 10 years, it is
how
going to
is the
grow.
worth defined? I mean, how does it? I mean, is it because of the interest? Is it because of people participating? And is it because of the hype, or is it because of something to do with the blockchain? So, how does the
I
value
will come to
increase?
that part. So,
Yeah.
if we talk about value, one, there are some factors that play a major role. One is people's interest. If you're really interested in buying a celebrity NFT, and if there is a chunk of people, because there's a followership that celebrity already has, so
Yeah.
he has a demand in market, right? So that could be one of the reasons why an NFT's price is going high. Okay. But there's one more side that goes very standard for all the NFTs, and that is the utility side of the NFTs. When I say utility, is what is that this NFT is giving me. Okay. So let's say if I have there is a community which is doing something on the utility side for for their NFT holders. There's a FOMO created that, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not a part of that thing, and I
Yeah.
want to be a part of that thing. I want those utilities as well. Those utilities either can be in the form of monetary values, returns that you get, or it could be in the form of staking as well. NFTs can be staked today, right? If they give a chance of staking NFTs, and if you could get a reward on that, definitely, yes, people would definitely want to go. Some people might, it could be as simple as there's one celebrity who is going to meet you. There's going to be a meet and greet every month, or there's going to be a movie every month. I'm going to get or every movie that particular artist or celebrity is bringing up, you are going to get a premium tickets to those NFTs. So that is also a form of utility. So utilities can be defined in any form that actually interests people into taking part uh, into the drops that NFTs bring. So yes, these could be one of the some of the reasons why there is why there is growth, why there is demand, why there is increase in the prices. Yeah,
Right. I think the most relatable thing is, for example, uh, people are fans of certain celebrity, right?
true,
And
true.
then right now, what happens? People celebrate these movies coming in and a lot of other things, but they don't own anything as such. Anything related to movies or the celebrity, or, for example, even the recent movies like RRR and all other movies where we like the movie, we do something, but there's nothing that we own. I think NFTs is one of the way that you say that, you know, I like this and I own some of it in some or the other
Right.
way, which is a digital,
In
way
the
to own
form.
it, right?
Right,
Digital
right,
form,
right.
right? I think that's the most common. I mean, from a novice and example of a common man, I think this is the most closest thing. And especially if you go to the south side of India, and people celebrate Rajinikanth and a lot of other people in a different way altogether.
True, true,
We've
true.
seen people doing puja and all of that,
Yeah, yeah.
and
For movies, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And why don't I own some of it, right? I mean, in
Uh-huh,
some
uh-huh.
form where it's financially viable for me at the same time, as much as I like to own certain things of that particular movie, right? I think
True.
that's the most connectable part right now. But I
Right.
think there's a lot more. There's a lot to uncover in this space. I think we still don't know the real potential of it. As we grow, as we start to explore a lot more opportunities and applications being built on, I think every
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of my colleague, and I told him that 10 years from now, every company who is going to onboard a, a person will have some kind of NFT or a crypto as
Right.
part of
Definitely.
onboarding process. Like an employee
Mm-hmm.
owns some part of the company, and
Yeah.
now there's nothing like that. Imagine, I mean, we give
Probably in
away.
the form of equities, yes, there are some things,
Yes,
but in future we
I
will
mean,
see
what are the
more of
other
it.
way you want to attract talent, right? I mean,
Right, right, right.
attract talent, keep them in, keep them engaged, keep them
Engaged.
invested,
Mm-hmm.
and also it is directly proportional to how well you're doing in from a business standpoint, right?
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, these are some. We were throwing up ideas of how it's going to sort of shape up the industry, right? I think these are somewhere we could relate to, and
Right.
right. And coming to the end of this talk, so um, I think NFT has been in talks with among the people, and I think there's a close community which is like the early adopters, right?
Right.
I mean, if you look at the product adoption curve, so there's early adopters who are already in NFT. They've been making a lot of noise around it, and there is the biggest piece where they're
Absolutely.
the rest of the people, right? And if you have to advise or give them a insight of why you should get into NFT, so what would it be?
Mm-hmm. So, as a part of advice, I would say learning is the best way. Experiment. This space is something that you can experiment. I can ask you to go buy a little, some sort of cryptocurrencies, try how it works. It's the trading part of it can be taken care.
Yeah,
There, if you want to really learn about blockchain, go pick up. Like there are so many things. Like you spoke about how there
I
are
think there are a lot
articles
of
about.
cases where cryptos, like for example, SHIB, or something like that, where
Yeah.
it was quite a small. It was 0.0010 zeros, and then it
Yes.
grew
I.
to people became millionaires in that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I was there. I was there. So I did get a good profit out of that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice, nice.
yeah.
So we were there, but we came in late, little bit.
Yeah.
So you are in that space, so you could enter into it. But I think
Right.
now that more people are coming in, so I think yeah, learning about this space is one part of it. Everybody should understand what the technology
He's
offers
bringing.
in this
Yeah.
space. Yes,
True, true.
and it's not just to make money. I mean,
Mhm.
money is of course a side effect of it, but also to be able to invest it in the technology in the future. I
Mhm,
think
mhm, mhm.
some or the other way that we need to be involved, and NFTs is one part of it, right? So
Right.
yeah, so yeah, Neha, I think this has been wonderful. I think there's a lot of insights, a lot of details to carry on. I think even when we look at the amount of information that we might have to cut into a lot of pieces and put it right. And I'm guessing you guys are going to come up with a lot more, NFTs and different categories. I think
True.
gaming is one part of it. I think you have a lot more other things in your pipeline. I saw your roadmap.
Very well.
There's some real estate and other things in the pipeline in the roadmap. I think it's going to be exciting for us and for the people who is going to participate in the early stage, right?
Very,
And
very.
thank you for joining us. And this has been wonderful session. I think we've learned a lot. We look to talk to you soon once again with your team. Go into detail,
For sure.
probably find out what kind of new NFTs are dropping by and how we can get hands on. Look into the details, right? That would be something that would be interesting for us. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Abhilash. I had a wonderful time talking to you
Awesome, awesome.
too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.